to the wars we wage, the walls we failed to rearrange. Is it all I've known to water the ghost of what you were before you caved? And it all feels strange. It's a thought that I never seem to shake. Is it all I've known to weather the storm you left before they fed you to the flames? But if you were my creator, bred from your own bones, how are we so different? We share the same damn clothes. Am I just as broken? Is that how I was born? You were my creator. Tell me, am I wrong? So how do we get from here to leaving right this instant, when I can't bridge the distance? Well, besides, I'm not sure that I'd want to anyway. When nothing's ever come from being brave, and nothing's ever come from being honest. If you were my creator, bred from your own bones, how are we so different? We share the same damn clothes. Am I just as broken? Is that how I was born? You were my creator. Tell me, am I wrong? Father, forgive me, I've been making such noise. Father, forgive me. I wish it was different, but you left me no choice. Wish it was different. Oh, Father, forgive me, I've been making such noise. Father, forgive me. I wish it was different, but you left me no choice. Wish it was different. Oh, Father, forgive me, I've been making such noise. Father, forgive me. I wish it was different, but you left me no choice. Wish it was different. But if you were my creator, bred from your own bones, how are we so different? We share the same damn code. Or am I just as broken? Is that how I was born? You were my creator. Tell me, am I wrong? You were my creator.
Come on, tough guy.
Sons of Scotland, I am William Wallace, and I see a whole army of my countrymen, but they'll never take our freedom!
And we are live again. How are you doing this evening, brother?
I'm great, man. It's really nice to be here. Excuse me. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in. I hope you guys like that intro song. It was really nice. And the stinger, that was pretty funny, right?
Yeah, it's fun. We got to go live twice this week. It's something we enjoy. We've got a little bit less on our plate right now, so we're able to do a little bit more content. And tonight we're going into a calendar update. What do you think of that, brother? Excited? Not excited?
Yeah, no. I always want to keep the head of the year in its correct position. I always want to have everything aligned to the stars. There's nothing that's ever going to change with me. It's got to be the most exciting thing. I'm super OCD when it comes to the moon and the stars and the sun and everything, as you know, and everybody else knows. So I'm really excited tonight. Also, we're going to be talking about what is truth? How can truth be found? What is it? Right? Also, we've got, some memes, a couple of them that, might call upon us to look into some of the things that we need to fix and stuff like that. But yeah, it's going to be a great night.
Yeah, so we're actually going to be doing a fundamental truth update tonight. So if you read in the description box, everybody, I have the way fundamental truth number 5, which has to do with the true Hebrew calendar, how it used to read and how it reads now. So tonight we're going to be going through the reason why we would change the wording, the new link to an updated calendar, and what that's all about. What else is going on in the world right now, brother, that before we get into content that sounds interesting to you?
So we didn't get to go into some of the stuff that I had planned for current events, but we'll get into that next week. We'll be live again, just hopefully not because of the fake nukes that are about to go off. So we've got the most current updated stuff is that the tanks being sent to Ukraine are going to spark nuclear war. And Trump came out and said, first come the tanks, then come the nukes. Both are just ridiculous, obsoleted stuff. There are no nukes, and the tanks can be depleted with one bullet. Deleted and defeated with one 50 caliber uranium depleted bullet. So we know all about that. But what they're going to do is probably shut the power off, maybe sacrifice the city. We don't know. See, the thing is they got to have cojones for them to do these things, to create an actual river of blood. It takes some pretty demonic characters. And, I'm pretty sure we do have the presence of these beings around us, but it doesn't seem like they're able to do what they want. This CBDC, this quick, slow Fabian style attack. You need to mute when I'm talking. I can hear the echo. They're trying to move this slowly, and then wham, they strike. Basically, that's the Fabian Society's motto. They move slow. So they're broadcasting it, saying they're going to have these 15-minute cities. The CBD said, the MOTB system. I can't say those words because they'll take us down. I'm going to throw it back to you. I'm rambling.
I was muted, brother. You just couldn't tell because it was through OBS.
Good to know.
Sorry about that. I wish there was an easier way to do it. Yeah, rambling. Is there anything else you want to get into? So tonight might not be a super long hangout. I'm guessing we'll probably go over an hour, but probably not too close to 2 hours. So, yeah, anything else, brother?
Well, yeah, let's get into it. If that's what you want to do, you can get into your screen presentation if that's what you're ready for.
I can't think of anything else to really talk about before we get into it.
Excuse me, everything that I've got planned we can talk about then. We don't have to talk about it now.
All right. Well, let's jump on over to it. We are at Stellarium now, of all places. Stellarium. Let me also get up the calendar, and this one is the new, no, this is the old one. Gotta get a few things out of the way. So let's go to the old one on the calendar, and I'll show you what we had.
Throw me a screen share when you get the chance.
Yes, absolutely.
Thank you, everyone, for tuning in. Yeah, Brother B's bringing up, the Earth's core supposedly reversed, right? That's hilarious. From seismographic. It basically swings like a pendulum, they're saying, right?
Mm-hmm. Let me know how the background music is.
Sounds great. I'll look for a 5x5 from people in the chat, but as far as I can tell, it sounds great.
All right, so here we are right now, and we've gone into the 11th month. We had a new moon on January 22nd. And so here we are on the 29th. This is first Sabbath of the 11th month. We've got some Freemason shill channels that are talking about the 11:11. So the Hebrew calendar, the 11th month, the 11th day, that turns out to be February 1st. We're keeping tabs on that day. But you can see here, as we go through the 11th month, that last day of the month is going to be February 20th. And then we have 12th new moon, February 21st. So this is the old calendar, and we had a 12th month, and then you would get to the end of this month at March 21st, and we would have a new moon sighting on March 22nd, 2023. So you get the 322 and the 223. So you've got it forwards and reverse. That's the skull and bones number, and it just so happens to fall on what we had as the first day of the new year. All right, so the reason why we had this like this is because here's the spring equinox, and we're going to do a little bit of looking at the spring equinox and how you determine when the spring equinox is. I think everybody should know how to use equatorial sundial and how you can know when the equinox is, understand that it's one day long. It's not like a season like we were hearing from T-Jump and Mr. Senseless, right?
Crazy. But one thing I want to point out really quick here is that, excuse me, interestingly enough, the incorrect first day of the new year it happens almost the next day. It's almost right on top of the equinox here. It's something that I want to draw everyone's attention to. We are stating that this is incorrect, right? And how funny is it that it was the very next day almost, right? Usually it depends on how long the new moon is after you sight the equal day, equal night day, which is the equinox. But I haven't seen it line up the next day. I just wanted to point that out.
Yeah, this is super close. So we've got equinox of March 20th, and we're going to be doing the double check on this to make sure that that's all true. And the reason why I had this being the first day of the first month right here, remember this is the old calendar, is that it fell after the equinox. So we had been going by the rule of the first new moon after the spring equinox. So according to that rule, we see the spring equinox here, and I just went, all right, this is the first new moon after the spring equinox, and just moved on. So we actually sat down recently and took a look at this, and now we want to show everybody this, that if we go to this new moon, all right, so let's go to March 22nd. We're going to look east. We're going to bring up the sun. We're at the end of the day. Here's the morning. So the sun's rising, and I'm going to put on the star art. I'm going to put on this grid. I'm just going to have everybody look at the horizon here. And we can see that the sun is rising in Pisces. All right, so here we're contemplating the first day of the new year, and we have the sun in Pisces, and it's pretty clear, pretty obvious. It's not in Aquarius; it's in the first fish of Pisces. So you see that Pisces is it's two fish. You've got the one that sort of goes horizontal with the ecliptic plane, and then you have the next one that's like vertical to it, and then the next one is Aries. So we're going to be talking about how in the scriptures the first month, Passover, is Abib, Nisan, Aries, and the Lamb. Those are all the same names for the same month, and it's the head of the year according to the scriptures. So we know from how our calendar works that you have your first new moon, and then Passover is on the 15th day of that first month. So what we had here was April 5th as Passover this year. So we're going to jump out here now to April 5th. And where is the sun? It's still well in Pisces. Very well in Pisces. It's still just at the tail of the first fish, not even to the second fish yet. So when Ronnie and I were looking at this, we were like, there's a problem because the head of the year is Aries. Here comes Aries coming up behind right here. So what do you have to do to get the sun into Aries? Well, we're going to show you that. Let's see. How do we want to go about showing this? Let's take a look right now at the reason why we keep Nisan, Abib, the Lamb, Aries as the head of the year, and we're going to go to scripture for that. So we're at Exodus 12. It says, "The Lord said unto Moses and Aaron in Egypt, This month is to be for you the first month of your year. Tell the whole community of Israel that on the 10th day of this month, each man is to take a lamb for his family, one for each household." So this is going into the Passover description, right? And Passover is in the first month, and it takes place in the lamb. Right? You're supposed to go get a lamb. You're supposed to sacrifice a lamb. It actually takes place in the lamb, and we're going to be showing you how that is. Well, how that fits with the whole year. Now, one of the things that we mentioned about this is that the rest of the world is going to be observing Passover where we were going to be looking at it. So they say April 5th through April 13th. So we had been in sync with them, but now that we're looking at adding the 13th month, we won't be in sync with them. Not for this year. We'll meet up again at the end of the year. We'll show you how that works. So let's go back here into Stellarium, and we're going to do our due diligence. We're going to take a look at when the equinox is, and for that we're going to take a look at March 20th, and you're going to see a real similar image to what we saw in the thumbnail. We'll start with the 19th. Let's get back towards sunrise. And now what I'm going to do is take off the horizon so that we can see right where it is when it's coming above the horizon. I'm going to zoom in. I'm going to add a little graphic for us. This right here is an equatorial sundial. Now let me show you what this looks like if you were to just stumble across it out in the open. That image is from right here. So, Ronnie, I know you could probably do this on the fly quickly, but I want to show people how this tool, this instrument right here, the amount of information that you can decode from it. So, if you're in the north, the way the equatorial sundial works is this rod right here goes perpendicular through this plane, and this rod has to be pointed perfectly at Polaris. So you can tell you're up north here, and this rod right here is pointing directly at Polaris. And you can tell that this is in the afternoon, right? We're looking west, and you can tell that we're after the fall equinox too, because the light that's coming in here is casting a reflection this direction from the slab right now. You can tell that the sun is actually lower and illuminating the back side of this dial and not this top side. So now if we go back to Stellarium here, that's that same sundial. So let me show you how this works. Put this into real life practice, where if you have a sundial and you have this stem right here, pointed due north if you're in the north, or pointed due south if you're in the south, what's going to happen is coming into the spring solstice, we're coming from the shorter days to the longer days. The sun is working its way back towards east. And what you're going to see here is on the 19th, watch the way the sun rises. It comes up south of east. And so the whole day, it's never going to illuminate this side of the equatorial sundial. It's always going to be illuminating this backside of it. Now, if you go to the next day, let's rewind this a little bit. If you go to the next day, watch what happens. Alright, now it comes up. Well, this one comes up pretty much right down dead center. So then the next day after that, you should clearly see how from this point until the fall equinox, right? From this point on, it's going to be illuminating this face of the sundial. And that right there is how the equinoxes work, people. You can be looking to the west and doing this. You can be looking to the east and doing this. But you're going to see at sunrise, whether or not you're before the equinox, at the equinox, or after the equinox. That is how we test the equinox, and no one understand when it is.
And it's equal day and equal night. If you count the daylight hours and the nighttime hours, you'll find they're equal as well. And this is how we've been doing this since Enoch 5,000 years ago. You stick a stick in the ground, and you can tell which way the shadow's shining. You draw out a compass around that stick, and you can do this anywhere in the realm. Now, it's more accurate in the north when you point it to the North Star, and when you go south of the equator, you point it at Sigma Octans, 180 degrees south. That's all you need to do, and you have your own sundial. The problem is this does not work on a sphere. It falls apart. It absolutely doesn't work. You have to be on a fixed flat plane of reference, then measuring up into the sky at your correct angles. So yeah, I think this was a good demonstration. If there's anybody else in the chat that has any other questions before we move on.
All right, and so just once again, that debate that we had with T-Jump and Mr. Senseless, they tried to act like the graphic that I was referring to and showing all the time that comes from timeanddate.com and Wikipedia and all these. They all show these positions of Earth, the ones that I was sharing, with specific dates. Now, it can vary by like 2 days. We've got the equinoxes and the solstices, and those are set windows. So when you are looking at this position of the equinox, you've got a 2-day window each way. And remember, the graphic that we were looking at, these solstices, they said that you could not have eclipses at them, that the moon was either too high or too low, and we do have them. So heliocentrism is debunked. We're just going to keep hammering on those points. But let's go back to the calculation. Now we're going to, so this was the equinox, and then remember we were looking at, go ahead.
We're going back to the calendar, yeah. Dial it back in. When we find the equal day, equal night, direct east rise, direct south, due west set, then we look for the next new moon.
Yeah, and that's the reason why this is the old calendar. That's the reason why we had set this as the first day of the new year. But now we're going to see that we would not have Passover. If we go out here to Passover at April 5th.
Yeah, let's go to it and have a look at the sun's rising star position in the houses. So the Mazzaroth are the 12 houses in the sky that set your month, right? Depending on where the sun is, the sun tells us which month. The moon gives us the days of the month.
I'll put the ground back on so people don't get disoriented. But so this April 5th, the sun is clearly in the middle of Pisces.
That's not where we need it to be in 14 days. So you got to go out to the 14th day after the new moon, after the sighting of the equinox. And if you don't see the sun rising, right, in the Lamb, then you're off. You need to reckon Adar 2. It's the reason it was put in there, so that we knew that the head of the year was always the sun rising in the lamb. That's why they had the lamb sacrifice in that month. Just the way that it was lined up, that we're following to keep things correct.
So let's take a look at our second new moon that we have here. That comes in at April 21st. So now let's run this out to the 21st. Alright, so now this new moon takes place as the sun is just leaving Pisces and entering Aries. So now if we push this out to the 15th day here, we're now out at May 5th. And so if we go to May 5th, this right here.
Wow. Let's see. That is when I said Adar 2, 100%.
This right here.
That's the perfect sun rising sign to celebrate Passover.
This is Passover. And so what we've done is in the description box, you're going to see the link to the new updated one. And what that does is now at that infamous 3-2-2-2-2-3 day.
Oh, it's not even going to be that special anymore.
Yeah, now all of a sudden it's the first day of Adar 2, the 13th month.
Wah, wah, wah.
Yep, and then that brings us to the end of that 13th month on 4/20. There's a famous day.
Yeah. Yes.
And then our first new moon of the year, the beginning of the year, the head of the year is April 21st, 2023, which makes Passover May 5th.
May 5th.
And so you would think that this might possibly screw up the entire calendar, but let's go ahead and scroll through the year here, and I'll show you what happens. So we're going through our months. We've got Pentecost, June 24th, Ascension Day, June 21st. We're going to get out here to the 7th month. This is the fall festivals. Now all of a sudden we've got October 15th as trumpets. First 10 days, Day of Atonement is October 24th.
Okay.
We have tabernacles.
So hold on, pause.
Mm-hmm.
Let's go to Stellarium. Go to Stellarium, please. And let's go to trumpets.
Okay.
A little before. And I'd like to see the moon or the night rising sign. Just wanted to see where.
What day was it? October 15th?
Yeah.
Let me check. October 15th. And what are you looking for?
I'm just looking. So we got the sun in Spica in the Virgo sign, the Virgin. Right? So just run it. I'd like to see the night stars.
Yeah, this is the morning. I got to go to the evening. Let's watch. Let's watch what shows up as the sun goes down.
Well, we got scales.
Yeah, so the sun is clothing the Virgin. That's the reason why the Revelation 12 sign takes place at the Fall Festival.
So it's justice. What do we have on the east coast here? The east of the circle of sight. We're at the west. So we watch the sunset.
Watch the sunset. You want to watch it rise now? Well, we've got Jupiter in Aries at this time.
The lamb. Aries,
Yeah.
the lamb is rising, yeah. Where's the moon? Jupiter's with Aries, huh? Wow, okay.
Well, remember this is new moon, so it's not going to be...
Oh, it's...
This isn't tabernacles.
Oh, yeah, it's trumpets.
Yeah.
I was thinking of tabernacles. But yeah, it's interesting. So on trumpets, we've got Aries rising and the scales, the justice.
Yes. So November 6th would be the full moon. We'll take it back to that. That should be right at sunset. Should be coming up.
Right.
You got Jupiter. And Aries, the Lamb. Moon's not up yet. Coming up later?
Something's not right. It's the correct date. It's not, you're not on it.
Must not be.
Does that say the 6th?
Oh, that's the 8th day of Tabernacles. I want the first day. That's October 29th.
Way off. Sorry, everybody.
All right.
Because you always know that when the moon is full, like Enoch told us, she rises in opposition perfectly with the sunset. Every single time there's a full moon.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it's
Drawing our attention to Aries still.
yeah, Aries, and then
Right?
close to the bull. But yeah, so the lambs. So here we are. That's the 7th month. Then there's the 8th month, the 9th month, the 10th month, the 11th month, the 12th month, and then the first new moon. So all I did is adjust this Hebrew calendar year, and now we come around to this first new moon of April 9th. And then we'll actually be back in sync again with the Torah, the New World Order version of the Hebrew calendar, right? So it's just going to be this coming year that we're going to be out of sync with them. And every time, one of these Rapture Watch channels talks about, a festival date, we're going to be going, nah, it's not really that. It's going to be a month later, right?
Well, they're going to try to tell you that the rapture is going to happen on this date because it's this holiday or this festival. And what we're showing you is not, they're absolutely all wrong. All of them are going to be wrong. Again, fulfilling what Enoch said is they would take unto them sins and they would err in judging the times, the seasons, and the signs in the heavens, right? And that's exactly what we see. I'm just thankful that we've been given this information. Now, are you going to take it to Moses and the instructions here? Where are we going next?
Well, I did mention them. That's this is the instructions. The reason we're supposed to keep the first month, the month that has Passover, the head of the year, and this really sort of goes into the topic that you've been starting to dive into regarding the Mazzaroth. And it sounds like a complex word. I hadn't heard of it too much. I just want to let everybody know the Mazzaroth is the biblical Hebrew word for constellations. So we're going to be constantly talking about the 12 constellations on the ecliptic, right?
Yeah. It's basically the houses in the sky. It can also be likened unto, click on what is the meaning? It's a crown. It can be likened unto a crown. I was just going to, right below people ask. I didn't know if it was, don't know why it's not showing you the other interpretation of it. A garland of crowns. There it is. Thank you. I just wanted to make sure that people saw, because constellations just, bleh, it doesn't sound nice. Garland of crowns. We're discussing the garland of crowns, which are the 12 houses that are in the sky. Now you can take it from there, please.
Thank you. So when doing some research of this, the Hebrew zodiac signs, I came across this image right here, and I love it. This is absolutely awesome. What it does is it lines up some names that I'm familiar with. It calls these the month, Nisan, Iyar, Sivan, Tammuz. These are the things that I recognize as being the Hebrew Yiddish modern day names of the months, right?
The parable of the fig tree, or Adam parable of the fig tree, I think that's his channel name. But he uses the Yiddish names, right? So it's an amalgamation of European languages. It's not Hebrew. They've changed it, right?
And so I just wanted to show everybody this graphic, because what this does is it aligns the Hebrew calendar with the Latin names that we're familiar with, where Nisan is Aries. Aries is the lamb. And then it says Hebrew names. This Tela, I wasn't familiar with it. I had to look it up. And so it turns out that Tela is the Hebrew word for lamb. Right? Tala is the Hebrew word meaning lamb. If we go back to the graphic,
Tala, or Tele, I guess, however you pronounce it.
yeah, Aries, the lamb, Nisan, Tala. This is all the same thing. So the next month here, IR, Taurus, right? Taurus the bull. Well, the Hebrew name Shor, if you look it up, the Hebrew word for that is, I'll look around my camera. Head of cattle, bullocks, ox, right? So that is a match. This is the months in order. These are the Hebrew names. Now, sort of neat. So,
yeah. So you were on the bull.
mm-hmm.
The bull or wild ox or Taurus, right?
Mm-hmm.
The white bull is a mighty animal, being an extinct type of wild ox, is being symbolized here, and it was clearly used in Enoch to symbolize the kingdom of Yahawashai and the millennial reign. Just so people know, the bull is a very powerful sign in the sky.
Yeah, and so Sivan is Gemini, and we refer to the Gemini as the twins. Well, the Teomim is literally the Hebrew word for twins. Pretty cool, huh?
Well, yes, and to the heavenly level understanding will be the humble path that Christ took, and the reigning king that comes and destroys the wickedness of the realm. That's, you get the twins, the Geminis. It's also related to Christ.
You know, Tammuz is Cancer, right? And I've always wondered about Cancer, so I was really excited to see what the Hebrew name for this month is. So let's look at Sartan, and Sartan actually means in Hebrew, who holds or who binds.
That's correct. That's right. And to add another heavenly level understanding to this sign as well, right? It's also been likened unto the crab represents Yahawashai's saved, or his flock, and he's purchased them because it's generally depicted in the hands or the paws of the lion. It's his possession is found in the Cancer crab sign.
And so Leo, the Yiddish name for it is Av. The Hebrew name, Aryeh, is lion. Go figure. It's actually a lion. Leo the lion. Elul. Go ahead.
Hold on. What?
Please add.
Going fast. We got to add the heavenly level understanding, right?
Mm-hmm.
So the lion is a representation of Yahawashai chasing down the serpent, which can be also known as Hydra, right? And it also represents the final victory of good over evil at the end of the millennial reign.
Awesome. Whoops. I didn't want to click on that. Can I go back?
We have Aquarius, Capricornus. We don't have Scorpion. We didn't talk about Sagittarius, the Archer, right? Where are we going now?
Well, Tishri, Libra, right? If you look this up, it actually means balance. The maznaim, the Hebrew word, means balance. So very similar to scale, like we're familiar with in Libra. Mm-hmm. Chesvan, or Scorpio. This one, the Hebrew name is Akrav. And Akrav.
We skipped the meaning of the scales.
Oh, go ahead.
The heavenly level understanding and meaning of the scales is that Christ, right, Yahawashai, the Redeemer, who paid for our sins with his suffering, right, and literally bought us with his own life, gave his own life and died. And they use the word blood, but I know people generally twist this all up into weird stuff. He bled out and died for us, right? He didn't do anything wrong. So Libra, the scales, are actually a symbol of his justice, what he did for us, how it was just. Now you're on Scorpion, right?
Yeah, so Scorpio, this one, checks out a little different. It's called Chesvan in Yiddish, Scorpio, and then the Akrav. If we check out Akrav, that is place of sitting. All right, it comes from the Hebrew verb yashav, meaning to sit, and is called as such because it is a place where you sit a lot and debate.
That's Scorpion?
Yeah.
Yeah, so the other higher heavenly level understanding of it is the killer is shown stinging the heel of the serpent bearer, which is Ophiuchus, who, excuse me, who in turn is cursing the scorpion's head, crushing the scorpion's head, right? This is also reminiscent of the great promise given unto Eve that her seed would crush the serpent's head, and though it would bruise his heel. Thus, that is the descendant of Yahawashai. He is the one who overcame death, hell, and Azazel, even though he was crucified by the evil forces. That's what the sign of Scorpion represents.
So Kislev is Sagittarius, and the Hebrew word keshet. So keshet means rainbow. Right? So this is...
That's awesome. What?
Yeah, that one takes a little bit of a jump as far
That's
as...
a big one.
Yeah.
It's a big sign. In the heavenly level understanding, it's the archer, or the half man, half horse, which might represent the dual nature of Christ. Again, he's super gentle, rode in on a mare donkey, a female donkey, right? The next time he comes, he's just going to slay everything, wipe it all out. It's shown as the scorpion overcoming the adversary, right? So it's about the great victory again, the archer.
Then we have Yiddish Tevet, associated with the Latin name Capricorn, and the Hebrew name Jedi. And so Jedi, that's pretty cool, huh?
Yeah.
Is a kid or a young goat. Right.
Yeah, so the heavenly level understanding says that the strangest constellations actually become the easiest to interpret. The goat is wounded, and some of the star names indicate that it is the sacrificial goat, which many believe represents Christ again in his sacrifice.
Shavat, associated with the Latin name Aquarius, the Hebrew name...
Hold on, sorry. I forgot
Delay.
part of that.
Oh, yeah, go ahead.
One more part was the sea goat, Capricornus. The second part of that sign that we don't want to leave out here is the representation of the animal's tail, which is actually a fish tail, which appears very much alive. So again, this represents the first half was the sacrificial animal, and the second half represents the resurrection or reincarnation of the everlasting life.
Yeah, and then Aquarius, and the Hebrew name Delai, and that right there literally means in Hebrew bucket or pitcher. So this one is like in harmony with the water bearer, as we're familiar, right?
Yeah, the heavenly level is it's Christ that pours out the grace of the water of the heavenly spirit, right?
The living water.
Living waters, thank you.
And then the last one, Adar, is Pisces, the fish, and guess what? Dagum, in Hebrew, means fish. Absolutely.
Did we say it's the fish sign, right? Which is those that make it into the millennial reign.
Yep.
Possession side. Did we say Virgo? Did I miss a few? I don't know.
We jumped through a couple because they were easy. We could Virgo.
We don't want to leave any out.
Virgo is the Virgin, so the Betula. We can go back to Betula, and that is. Actually, don't. There it is. All right. Betula, to refer to a virgin, as well as the idea of virginity. So.
Yeah, it was.
The virgin.
Was through a virgin, right? It's the representation of her in the sky.
Absolutely. Yeah, so when you look at this chart right here, this is the reason why I was gung-ho on just straight up changing the fundamental truth wording, is because when you look at this, it becomes abundantly obvious that the reason why the months are called the months, right, is because the sun is in that constellation. Right? The reason Nisan is called Nisan is because it's in the first month of the Lamb. The reason why the second month is called Iyar or Taurus or Shor is because the sun is in that constellation. That's the reason why when we brought up Stellarium, we're looking for which constellation is the sun rising in. So when the sun rises, Here we are out at the fall festival. Here the sun is rising in the Virgin. Then you can look at the calendar. Go back to... The sun's rising in the Virgin. It's Elul, or you could call it Betula. Right? So the sun's position in a constellation tells you the month that you're in. That's how the Hebrew calendar works, and you can't say that you're in the month of Nisan. So that's the problem that we're going to run into with the calendar the way we did have it. Let's go back to the older version. All right, in the older version, we had the first new moon taking place not in the month, not in the constellation of Aries. All right, and the sun has to be in that constellation during that month. That's how it works. So we're making a correction, an update. It's been a year since the last update, and I think that one was just to extend the calendar. So I'm excited to actually get out of sync with the Kabbalist calendars, and to be running solo again, right?
The first thing I did was, okay, Jason, pull it up, let's go. And I said to you, show me the equinox. Okay, show me Passover. And right away I said, nah, that's not Passover. And behold, here we are. So if anybody has any questions in the chat, what we're showing you again is that the way that we're reckoning our year, right, it happens when the sun rises in the month that it's supposed to. It corresponds with the Mazzaroth, or the garland of crowns in the sky. There's 12 crowns. We're looking at them right now, right? And when the sun rises in Aries or Telah, or the Yiddish word Nisan, that's the first month of the year, right? And when we see that, we know that on the first full moon of that month, when the sun is in the Lamb, we celebrate Passover, which is a new covenant festival. It's not just about what the Hebrews went through in the wilderness. It was about the actual salvation given to man through Christ. So it's kind of important that we know when the head of the year is. We're going to celebrate something that's eternal here, that was given unto us as a gift. So we're going to keep it at the correct time. And if anybody that's telling you anything other than this, they need to show you exactly how they've debunked what it says. Again, if you go back to what Moses was told, right, by Yahawashai, this is what Moses was told. The Lord said unto Moses, you could change that word Lord to Yahawashai, right? YHWH said unto Moses and Aaron, the two of them, right, in Egypt, this month is to be for you the first month of the year. Tell the whole community of Israel that on the 10th day of this month, each man is to take a lamb for his family, one for each household. And this is when they started the Passover. This is when they fled out of Egypt, right? And then Christ came, and then his sacrifice happened at the same time, right? If you guys can understand what we're saying here, and it became the bread and wine covenant of everlasting life, right? We were forgiven for our sins and everything. We were redeemed. So Adam fell because he ate of the tree that he was told not to. The law came into being when Yahawashai said, if you eat of this tree, right, you're surely going to die. That was the first rule, the first law. We broke it. And then Christ, the son of Yahawashai, the only son that came down from heaven, was nailed to a tree, right? And he didn't deserve to be nailed to the tree. Therefore, he defeated Azazel and was given the keys to life and death, and reincarnation and resurrection became unto him. The Father gave it to him as a glory, because he came to glorify the Father, and the Father's story is to glorify the Son. So that's how this all works.
Absolutely. So should we head into first break? And
yeah, well, we got the first mid-tro, correct?
Mm-hmm.
We got on the next one here. Let me see if I can pull up what our next song is going to be. The next one is a great one. It's from Youth 83. It's a title, it's called. It's more of an electro type song. This is a brand new track. It's not a vocal type track. It's more of electro. I know, Jason, you're a fan of this style of music, and you know, I really liked it. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoy it too. Again, this is Title from Youth 83.
All right.
I got to take the screen share.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're back.
And I didn't have the thumbnail enabled. It's all right. We'll get it.
But here we are. This one here says, is it, you let me know when I'm screen sharing.
Yeah, you got to share.
Okay. Ready? It says here.
No, just a second. You're not sharing with me.
Mm-hmm. You want me to re-screen share? I can re-screen share.
Oh, sure. Yeah, it's not showing up.
Should be. It's good on my end.
Let me see here. Okay. Got it.
So the, the basic intro to this is, what is truth? What is truth to you, Jason?
Things that have a objective reality to them is what I would say.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Things that we can test and observe.
Discernible, testable, repeatable. Yeah, things that we can prove have an actual reality to them. They are true. They are objectively true.
Yes, correct. These are the basics of what truth is. But really, what we really need to do is we need to understand that there is a moral guidebook that was left in the simulation here. Simulation, or simulacrum. Lack of a better word.
That word has been popping up lately.
So we're Christians, and we believe that the teachings of Christ and what Christ told us to study is the moral guidebook. And we use that as a foundation to bounce things off of, to see what bounces back and what actually fits. So when we look to the scriptures here, Matthew 7:7, excuse me, when we go into the book of Matthew 7, we're going to go down to verse 7, and it says, ask and it will be given to you. Seek and you will find. So right off the bat, we can see here that we're being told, like, if you ask, it'll be given to you. If you seek it, you're going to find it. It's not even a question here. It's straight out told. You will. It says knock and the door will be opened to you. It's not that it won't be opened. It's stating 100%. And you could go on and prove this right over and over again. It says here in 8, for everyone who asks receives, the one who seeks will find, and the one who knocks, the door will be opened. Right? And it continues here to, make a little bit of a funny joke. Which of you, if your son asks for a piece of bread, is going to give him a stone? Or if he asks for a fish, you're going to go on and hand him a poisonous snake, right? So if then you, who are a sinning person, says here, evil, know how to give good gifts to your children, how much more will your Father in heaven give good gifts to those who ask him? So let's think about this. So if we can do good things here as sinners, right? We have all sinned. Let's be honest. We're going to be honest. This is about truth, right? We do good things here, and they're just tiny, tiny, pale things in comparison to what the Father actually has stored for us, right? We don't understand it because this is happening over thousands and with 6,000 years. We've been being brought up, learning as we went. You could see in the first rules that were given, do not eat of this tree, right? And we broke it, and then more laws were given and broken. They put up strings around the people that call themselves Jew, which isn't even a real word. They were descendants of Hebrews, not Jews. The Judeans, the southern part of Israel, isn't a people. That's not what it was. So basically, they put up strings. They call them ear roofs so that they believe that they can't carry babies on a Sabbath, right? So they've gone so far from what the truth was that Christ came and he summed it all up like this. And he said, so in everything, do to others, right, what you would have done to you. For this sums up the law of all of the prophets. Christ made it really easy here. If you can't see, if you want truth, who do you got to ask? You got to ask the everlasting Father. His name's Yahawashai. You ask him for the truth. He's going to give it to you. He's not going to give you a stone, right? And he's going to test you. He's going to try your patience. Jason, do you have anything to add to this?
No, asking and you shall receive. I mean, I think I've relayed before that the one oath that I made this life was to the Father that if I received truth from him, I would never monetize the truth. And so I was trying to bargain. I was trying to bargain there. And so I asked, and yeah, the doors did open up, but it's not without mistakes. It's not without, pitfalls, trials, having to make corrections, be humble enough to make the corrections, all that kind of stuff. But ask and you will receive. It will be opened up to you.
Yes. It's not a question. It's a statement, right? It's a declaration to you. And people a lot of the time skip over it. So again, our main topic here that we're into is what is truth? And I told you guys that I have a foundation. Jason stands upon it with me, that the scriptures, not just the 66 book Bible, but all of the holy inspired spirit that inspired the word through men to write, right? That is our foundation of what we believe and what we fight for, because we actually go and test these things, right? How do you find truth? Well, let's look what the scriptures say. We started with the other one, ask and it'll be given, right? If you knock, the door will be opened. Now, if you don't want to do the things right and you don't have a righteous heart. So again, what is truth? The most important thing that you need to ask for before you ask for something that's true is you ask for a righteous heart, right? So Solomon, he had all the wisdom, yet they were sacrificing babies in the streets of Israel, of Jerusalem at the end of his reign. They were sacrificing the Moloch because he asked for wisdom, but he did not ask for love. You need to have a righteous heart first. Before you get into the truth, you need to ask to be purified. You need to have a clean heart, a heart that wants truth, that wants to do righteousness. So once we have those two things down, we ask for our righteous heart. Now we're asking, knocking on the door. Hey, could you open up? We're looking for some truth. The response is, okay, get in, start looking into the book of my inspired word, the word. So John 1:8, it says here, if we claim to be without sin, so if I'm going to tell you guys that I'm perfect, sinless, I'm going to deceive myself and the truth is not in me. So if you hear anyone who say they're sin-free, they're not speaking truth. And if you want to stop me at any time, go ahead, brother. I'm just going to keep going here because there's quite a few. This is...
Yeah, keep going, brother.
Excuse me. John 1:3-18, it says, dear children, let us not love with words or speech. See this? Let us not love with words or speech, but with actions in truth. Look here, we're getting right from the book of, I guess it's Yohanan. I don't know how to pronounce his name right. I wish I had the heavenly parabolic language perfectly down, but John in the modern English, because the letter J was created in the 1500s. His name wasn't John, but we're going to continue here. It says, dear children, I'll say it again, let us not love with words. So don't just go around telling people you love them, right? Or speech. It says here, actions, do something, and in truth. These are very important things that we're noting here. And I'm a little fired up because this is the most important thing to me in the whole entire realm. Truth, right? We got through here 1 John 4:6. It says, for we are from Yahawashai. This is a pagan deity named Gud or Gudriel. And the modern day Yiddish people say, they won't even pronunciate this name right.
It's too holy to pronounce.
To say, right? Yeah. Okay. It says here, whoever knows Yahawashai listens to us. But whoever is not from Yahawashai does not listen to us. This is how we actually recognize the spirit of truth and also the spirit of falsehood. Jason and I have created, right, a clear path of simple, understandable foundations that Jason made a correction to. Right? This is how we decipher between what is false and what is true. Right? And if people don't stand with us, we know that they're not with us, because Jason and I have the easiest path in the game. We don't lie. We don't have a stock in anything. We simply witness what is, and then we witness it again, and then we share it. That's it. We don't add anything. If the earth was curved, we would have said the earth is curved, and we would have showed you, right? That's what we are. So we don't have to worry. We have the power of truth always coming through us. So we don't even have to worry about it, because if we were to lie, we would instantly want to say that was a lie. We don't even want to embellish. I started tracking, when was it that I told lies? How about you, Jason? I can't even remember the last time. I might have said something that was an embellish, but I can't clearly recognize it. When was the last time you told a lie that you can remember, Jay?
It's got to be getting close to the 10-year mark now.
Wow, 10 years. That is crazy. I can't say. I can't remember the last one. But so a simple way to be a truther or to follow Christ is to never lie. It's that simple. Let's keep going here.
Just shut your mouth if you think you're going to say something that's possibly not true.
If your mind tells you say this and it's a lie, tell your mind no. Right? That's what we do. That's what I do. Moving on here, 1 Kings. Now we're into the Old Testament, 1724. It says here, then the woman said to Elijah, now I know that you are a man of Yahawah, and that the word of Yahawah is from your mouth. It is the truth. Right? So when we know that it's the truth, other people can recognize it, right? And we speak it. So what do we know? We ask to learn the truth. It's given to us, and then we go around, we speak the truth. Elijah was a man who had powerful words. He was known for, some of the stuff that Elijah did when he would walk through a town and he would say, like, they were crooked, wicked people. He would say, I pray that all of your men become great leaders, right? Knowing that would destroy them because they would just fight, right? I mean, he was so beyond most people's intelligence. When Elijah battled, he battled the magicians of Baal, and he mocked the living daylights out of them, pouring water all over his sacrifice. They were, what are you doing? And it burst into flames. So Elijah was a man who showed us how to live in truth. He went around speaking truth. Did you want to add to that?
No, that's good.
We got Timothy. We're back to the New Testament here. 2:15, and it says, do your best to present yourself to Yahawah as one approved, right? A worker who does not need to be ashamed and who correctly handles the word of truth. Wow, okay. So if we want to be approved by Yahawah, the Heavenly Father, if we want him to say, this is my son in whom I am proud, you earn that by speaking truth. It's that easy. It tells us right here in Timothy. Ephesians 6:14 says, stand firm then with the belt of truth buckled around your waist. Now, I mean, okay, we're getting into some heavenly level parabolic understandings, but basically what it's saying is your belt, the thing that is founded, your solar plex is the most important part of your body, especially if you're a warrior. You need to have a very strong solar plex so that you can move and defend yourself. So the buckle of truth, right? The breastplate of righteousness. Listen to this one. Do you know what that means? That means if you have a righteous heart, it becomes a breastplate upon you. In the spiritual realm, right? Of course, we can see men have breastplates and women have breastplates too. But this is talking about if you want to be a mighty warrior, right? You need the truth. Speak the truth, right? And you want to have righteousness in your heart.
Yeah, so I think of the belt as also being the place where the tool belt. So it's a big tool belt, having the truth. So all the different points of truth that you have are tools that can be on your belt. The breastplate protects the chest, and the heart's in the chest. So what it does is righteousness protects your heart, and the truth is a tool belt for you to use, right?
Mm-hmm. True. Yes. It's true. It's truth. You can prove me wrong. I'll tell you right now, anybody who walks around speaking truth all the time as if they have a belt of truth and a breastplate of righteousness, if they're constantly trying to love everybody, you're going to do good. You're going to be a good person. Moving on, we got Exodus 20:16. It says, you shall not give false testimony against your neighbor. Right? Don't lie. Don't lie. What's the point of it? People do it for personal gain and ego. Right?
That's it. Mostly personal gain. But yeah, ego, self-inflation does play a part for sure.
Right? That's what I generally see. So moving on here, James, obviously one of my favorite writers in the scriptures, right? Very special character, special name too. He chose to give us birth through the word of truth, that we might be the kind of first fruits of all he created. That is a powerful statement right there. Right? So we're talking about what rebirth is, reincarnation, right? Right, through the word of truth. So that's how Christ defeated Azazel, was through truth. And he became the first fruit. And then the first fruits with him rose, right?
Absolutely.
So he was the word of truth, right? The word and the truth. That was Yahawashai. That's where we get the title of his name, on top of his name, right? There's many titles, but that's a much deeper study. This one says John 1:14, the word became flesh. Again, we just talked about who is Yahawashai. He was the word and the truth. Became flesh and made his dwelling among us. We have seen his glory, the glory of the one and only Son, who came from the Father, yes, from Yahawah, full of grace and truth. How do Trinitarians rectify this? The glory of the one and only Son. It doesn't say the glory of Yahawah became the Son. No, it says that it was his Son that came from him, right? Full of grace and truth. The way that a father actually sends the sex of the baby to the mother, right? It's still like that, even though Eve is the first mother of mankind. Right?
Yeah, see, Trinitarians have one or two scriptures, and then after that, the rest of all these, like John 1:14, they have to say, it's a mystery. It's a mystery. Yeah, that's a mystery. That's a mystery.
Explain the parallel to you. We'll move on here. John 1:7 says, for the law was given through Moses, right? We're talking about how to keep the correct time of year, also given through Moses. It says grace and truth came through Christ, Yahawashai. We don't use the Latin earth pig name, right? So as we can see here, the law was given to Moses, but grace and truth. So grace is important. That's the forgiveness for our sins, because anything that we do righteous now that's good is given to us as a gift from the Father, and it's basically a foreshadowing of things to come in the millennial reign, when he's actually going to give us our gifts. We're not getting them now. You don't want to be celebrated in this world. You want to be hated. Okay, if you're celebrated and you're getting gifts and you live in a huge mansion and you know, you're just living life, going on vacations all the time, like, woe unto you. You've got an everlasting punishment, or you've been paid in full. Me, I don't want anything. We got to keep going here. I'm rambling. This one says John 4:24. Yahawah is spirit. Isn't that interesting? Yahawah is spirit, and his worshipers must worship in what? It says the spirit and in truth. Again, what is truth? Truth is Yahawah. Anything that is true is from him. Everything that is false is from the wicked one. Right? That's a simple divide that the scriptures are telling us what it is. Moving on here, John 8:32. Then you will know the truth, and the truth will set you free. The truth is absolutely, you know, I get these people, they made up the scriptures to, it's a trope. It's a Jayish trope, the New Testament, to rope you back into Judaism, to be worshiping Baal, is what the pagans say, right? Well, how is it that the New Testament actually shows you the way out and how to defeat it all? Right? You know, and we constantly get the Satanists saying, you know, the Church of Satan guys whining, well, if it's the truth, why is it in every hotel room? Yeah, so that you can be held accountable on Judgment Day. Why else wouldn't it be there? So that everybody has this guidebook from as far as the east is to the west, you can understand the truth in the guidebook to this reality right now. I don't think there's any country that doesn't have Wi-Fi or internet or some Google balloon above it casting internet down. So everyone's going to be held accountable. Jason, do you have a comment?
No, that's good.
This one says John 14:6. It says, I am the way, the truth, and the life. And Christ answered, I am the way and the truth and the life. No one comes unto the Father except through me. Right? So again, we've got Christ. We're asking, what is truth? What is truth? Christ is truth. He said, literally, I am the way and the truth and the life. And what do you think? Obviously, the life is everlasting life. He was given the keys, the king of everlasting life. The Father gave him that. So Christ came to witness and testify to the Father, and the Father's testimony is of the Son, of salvation. These are the two key things that we're going to constantly. What is truth?
Yeah, it's another mystery verse for the Trinitarians right there.
What, this last one?
Yeah, totally.
But
no one comes to the Father except through me. It's how would he say that about himself if he was the Father? I mean,
Yeah, he'd say, no one can come unto me
right.
except through the truth.
Yeah. So right here he's an intermediary. The other way, he is it. So yeah, the Trinitarian doctrine does not make sense.
No, not when you start actually looking at Christ's teachings. So in John 16:13, it says, but when this is very key. So in the scriptures, what we have is we have prophecy, which is things pointing forward, right? And then we have fulfilled things, which we can then point backwards in time with scriptures. So John 16:13 is one pointing forward, right? It says here, but when the Spirit of truth comes, he will guide you into all the truth. Not some, not just maybe parts of the truth, like David Icke or Eric Dubay or all these other clown shoes that are giving you just pieces of the truth. Christ literally told us that the Spirit of truth will come and he will guide you into all truth. He will not speak on his own, it says here, but he will speak only what he hears, and what he will tell you is what is yet to come. So again, these are the actual fulfillments of the scriptures that take place. If people are actually paying attention and they're trying to understand what's going on, all truth is being spoken and revealed now. Everything is being shared. Everything, there's nothing that's hiding. The scriptures have been dug up out of the ground. They found them in, salt mines. They found them in Ethiopian Coptic books in these old churches in the middle of the desert, right? All the scriptures then verifying back and forth with each other. This one in 17:17 in the book of John says, sanctify them by what? The truth. Your word is truth. Truth is the most important thing that we can attain. Truth and love. Obviously, you need to have love first. Like I had said, if you don't ask for a righteous, loving heart, the truth, it's not what you need. You're in trouble. You're going to be in trouble. Just take a look at what happened to Solomon. This one here is very important. Okay. Proverbs 12:22. A lot of this was written by David, who loved the father, Solomon's dad. And David had a righteous, loving heart. Right. So this one says, Yahawah detests lying lips, but he delights in people who are trustworthy. Okay. This is what you want to be. This word right here, trustworthy. You want to keep your word. Your yeses are yeses and your no's are no's. Yahawah watches. His people are trustworthy and they don't lie. Yahawah detests. Okay. Do we want to look up the etymology of this word? It's probably harsher the further we go back. Detests, hates, despises,
Abhors.
You should feel dread. You should feel dread in your heart if you're going around lying. Dread. Because that's what Yahawah hates. Don't do it. Psalm 25:5 again with David. He came in here and said, guide me in your truth and teach me, for you are my Elohim and my Savior. He's calling out to the Father as his Savior, David. That, there's not too many other characters. David was so poetic. If people don't understand, the scriptures are very poetic. They are the poems of time, and they've been retransliterated and changed and taken and twisted the storylines into fairy tales. But that's another topic. It says here, and my hope is in you all day long. So if your hope is in Yahawah, you will find salvation. You're going to find the truth and you're going to hold fast to it. David told us, David showed us the way, begging Yahawah, guide me in your truth and teach me. You don't think after everything that me and Jason have done, I didn't beg? I didn't beg to have the correct map. I didn't beg and ask for the truth and to show me more books. And every time I asked, more was given to me. We're still reading books. There's still more. Moving on here, Psalms 86:11. Teach me your way, Yahawah, that I may rely on your faithfulness. Give me an undivided heart that I may fear your names. If you don't have fear, discipline has been taken away from this realm. And you can see what it's fostered, right? We've got Hiles running countries, right? Nobody stands up. Nobody does anything. No one has fear anymore. They just mock us. Where's your Doolittle God in the sky with the gray beard? That's what they keep saying. And they continue to ramp up the hate, the injustice, the New World Order's plans as they move forward to track, chip, and trace everything we do, that we're not allowed to go more than 15 minutes in our non-rechargeable by the sun electric cars that are just going to freeze in the wintertime and blow up when it rains. This is what the New World Order is bringing us, because nobody fears Yahawah, because if they did, they would be good custodians of this realm. They would feed the animals and play fetch, and they would clean up the streets. They would get rid of all these stupid ass power lines, start giving people correct free energy. Nope. Azazel and they do not fear Yahawah. Psalm 119, 160 says, all your words are true. All your righteous laws are eternal. So everything that Yahawah has set forth that is good, whether we understand it or not, is all righteous and it's all eternal. There's no stopping it. Everything that he set forth. Psalms 145, 18 says, Yahawah is near to all who call on him, and to all who call on him, what? In truth. It's a key point here that's being made at the end of this sentence. In truth. You can't just go on and call on him with a wicked heart. You got to do it in truth. Your honest, authentic, true self, right? John 18, 37 through 38 says, this is the end of this section. We'll do one more. I'll go into a further study, and then we'll do a song break in a little bit more. It says here, this is Pilate speaking to Christ before they crucified him, right? He says, you are king then, huh? Says Pilate. And Christ answered, you said correctly that I am king, but in fact, the reason I was born and came into this world is to testify to the truth. So he did acknowledge that Pilate was right? But he went on to state that his actual purpose in time was to testify to the truth of the Father, right? And everyone that is on the side of the truth listens to him, right? And Pilate was stunned. He was taken back by this. He said, what is truth? It says here, retorted Pilate. And with this, he went out again and he went on to the Hebrews. There's no such thing as a Jew. I explained this before. Judea was the southern region of Israel, which is now the occupied state of Palestine. There's no Judeans there. Okay. Maybe the people in the West Bank and Gaza are, but that's another story. This says here, he went out again and said to the Hebrews that were gathered out there, I find no basis for charge against him. And what did they go on and say to him? All right. No, they said, give us the robber. That's in the next page. I'll get to that after. It says here, 8:31-32, to all the Hebrews who had believed in him, Christ said, if you hold onto my teaching, you are really my disciples. Then you will know the truth, and the truth will set you free. Again, he was talking about everlasting life, reincarnation, right? He told Nicodemus, you don't understand these things, but I'll explain it to you. How do I enter the kingdom? Yes, you must be reborn again through the spirit, the breath. How do you think that Adam was given life? Yahawah breathed life into him. What did Gabriel do with Mary when he came down to it? He breathed on her. Okay, this is how life happens. When you die and you let your last breath go, so too does your soul goes with your breath, and the breath goes back into another baby. Christ said, I am the one and I'm the way, and I'm telling you. He explained it to everybody that he was given that gift. So we can continue here. Ephesians 1:13-14, it says, and you were also included in Christ when you heard the message of truth, the gospel of salvation. So now we're getting the word truth and we're getting the word salvation mixed. So the word salvation is Yahawashai, right? Because it was Joshua in the modern English that delivered the people into the promised land, not Moses. It was sad, reading the book. No, Yahawah says, bring up Joshua and, ordain him. You're not going in, right? 40 years Moses wandered through the desert with these people, and he didn't get to go in because Joshua's name meant salvation, right? Christ's name, you know how they mix Jesus and Joshua. You'll read the books and you're like, wow, okay, they're calling Joshua Jesus here, and on this Jesus, they're calling him Joshua. Well, it's because the name's Yahawashai, right? That's the name. It says here, when you believed, you were marked in him with a seal, the promise, Holy Spirit. So now we're getting a mark. So if you believe, if you have faith in the path of salvation, we're talking about celebrating it in the first full moon, May 5th this year, right? The bread and wine covenant of salvation, right? You're sealed if you believe in that. This is what truth says, not me. I'm just reading it to you. It says here in 14, guaranteeing our inheritance until the redemption of those in Yahawah's possession to the praise of glory. So the inheritance is guaranteed, right? That's what we have when we have the truth, which is the gospel of salvation, which was that the Father sent his only Son into the world to save it, not to condemn it, right? And Christ was nailed to the tree that Adam first sinned on, right? Christ was nailed to it without sinning. He was the one without sin. And that's our gospel of salvation. It's simple. It says here, love is patient, love is kind. It does not envy. It does not boast. It is not proud. It does not dishonor others. It is not self-seeking. It is not easily angered, and it keeps no record of wrong. Right? This is what love is. Love does not delight in evil, but rejoices with what? Truth. Okay? Love is truth. The two are hand in hand. People might not know it. Again, back into this one. Christ rightly told him, yes, I am a king. For this cause I was born, and for this cause I have come into the world, that I should bear witness to the truth. And everyone who is of the truth hears my voice. And Pilate said to him, what is truth? And when he said this, he went out unto the Hebrews and said to them, I find no fault in him. Again, when Christ told him who he was and what he was here to do, Pilate was like, oh, I'm not putting this guy to death. And he came out and then he said, we have a custom that we should release one of these men to you today, because it was a Passover thing. Well, we're not going to kill them all. Here you go, Hebrews. Like the Romans, these are the Romans we're talking about. And he said there, do you therefore want me to release you the king? Right? And they said, no, not that man, but give us Barabbas, because they wanted to have the robber released. Right? That's the way that they treated him. And it wasn't even long before this, they were praising his name, Hosanna, because they wanted him to destroy Rome right then and there. Right? That's what they wanted, and they weren't going to get it. So that's this section. We got a little bit more to go to, but I do believe we have another song break if you want to take the screen share back at your ready, willing, and we'll just do a few more and then we'll get out of here.
Absolutely, brother.
This one's a great one. Tell me when the screen share's off, or when you have it.
I've got it.
Yeah, I'll just let everybody know the next song. I'm trying to keep on top here. The next one's a great one too. It's a remix. It's called Terrible. It's a Montgomery remix, right? So let's check it out. This one's by Teenage Jones and Montgomery, called Terrible.
We are back.
Yeah, that was a great synthwaver, right?
Absolutely.
I like Montgomery. She's got some great songs. I'll get my screen share up. Let me know when it's presented and if everything's working good. Yeah, thanks everyone for tuning in. It's 9:37 p.m. in the Central Standard Time. That's 10:37 in the Eastern. It's pretty late for us. Wow, Sunday, January 29th on the Gregorian calendar.
Going, yeah, absolutely.
What were we going to say? I cut you off.
We're going red eye style. We're pulling all-nighter.
We haven't done a podcast this late, but hey, maybe we'll have more time to start doing some more podcasts. But let's get back into this. We only have a few memes here. There's not too much. It says here, we are of Yahawah. He that knoweth Yahawah heareth us. He that is not of Yahawah heareth us not. Thereby we know that we have the spirit of truth, and we can discern the spirit of error. That's again John 1:4-6. Some of these are really interesting. This meme here says, Yahawah, change me from the inside out. Romans 12:2. Are you asking to be changed? Are you asking to have a better life, to love your family more, to share more truth, to make a difference in this world, to bring the Heavenly Father's will here? Are you asking? Are you getting down on your knees? I put my head right to the ground. I do it multiple times. Definitely the first thing I do when I open my eyes, and it's usually to fight back negative thoughts too that sometimes try to rise. Like we're constantly bombarded from the wicked one in our consciousness. That's why the number 666 is the man end of Azazel. We carry the same number because it's through man's wicked hearts Azazel can do anything here. He can't push a building over, but he can make a man's heart blow it up, right? This is what we know. So we'll continue on from that one. Ask Yahawah to change you, right? You want to have a heart of flesh, not a stone. You want to be a compassionate, loving person. And yes, sometimes we get frustrated, right, Jay? Sometimes I get riled up. You'll hear, you'll see. I don't try to pretend that I'm anything more than I am or I'm not. But I ask to be changed. I always ask to have a loving heart. Do you, Jay?
Yeah, I absolutely do. And the part I see is the inside out. And so it's not the outside. It's not how we look, how white our teeth is, how, silky our hair is, how fit we are. The inside, our heart is what is the most important. So the change needs to be there. And then when the heart changes, it will actually affect everything else. You can actually become a more beautiful person exteriorly if you are on the interior.
Well said. Yeah. Change from the inside out. This one here says, these trials will show you that your faith is genuine. It is being tested as fire is tested and purifies gold. Through your faith, though, is far more precious than mere gold. From Peter, we're being told here, which is the rock, the foundation, right? That's what Peter was called. So your faith and your willingness to go through the trials and tribulations and to suffer in this realm, right, is way more precious than any gold or diamond or anything else you could ever try to bring forth. Just remember that when you're suffering, right? It's precious. Something that's precious is precious because there's not much of it, right? And it's not usually easy to get. So have strong faith, stay strong. Yahawah, teach me what I cannot see. This is from the book of Job. Job was quite the man. Quite the man. Was he ever tested? Right? You can read that book and you'll be shocked at the tests that Job went through. And he didn't curse Yahawah. Nope. Right?
No, even in the face of great oppression, absolutely, he stood faithful.
Yeah, and that's precious, right? This one here says you can't defeat your demons if you're still enjoying their company.
Gotta get them out. Gotta clean them out of the house.
This one can sting a bit. It really can. But you know what? It's interesting here that we've got the symbolism of water. So if you're dealing with sin or things that you want to stop doing, try asking the Father, bathing in water. Okay? Just try it. Just try it. Just try it. Ask the water to cleanse you, to heal you through Yahawah. Bathe in water. Water is your friend. But truly, if you're enjoying your demons too much, how are you going to defeat them? Right? Come on, think about it, everybody. It's something I want you guys to think. This one's really important. Yahawah is not playing games here. We constantly joke that we're in a simulacrum, or a simulation or a virtual reality, but it's not a joke to us. Okay, this is very serious. Your eternal life depends on the choices that you make and the thoughts that you think, right? Your eternal life, it's not a joke. What he said will be, what is written will come to pass. And you can doubt me, doubt the truth, doubt it all, and you're going to be found in the wrong place. And eternity is a long time to be wrong, right? Let every man be a liar and Yahawashai be true. And if you don't have that attitude, you're inviting problems, chaos into your life. I know people want to say this or that, whatever it is that you believe in. I'm showing you what is. Okay, these aren't Ronnie's words. They're not Jason's words. It's Yahawashai's word. Right? It says it right here, what is written will come to pass. You can prove me right on that one. This is something that I went through. I went to a lot of churches, but I ended up going from church to truth. You can find this in Psalm 119 through 142. I went to a bunch of different churches and I said to them, why aren't you teaching this? What's wrong with this book, the book of Enoch, right? And lo and behold, we don't read those books. They're not canonical. I heard so many different things. I went to churches where they were touching people and they're falling over and shaking on the floor, doing all this stuff. And I gave all my heart to every place that I went. And everywhere I noticed that nobody really cared about the truth. Right? And then you start to understand when you come out of the churches, and you start to follow the truth now of what we're told to do, that you're totally different than everyone else. And you're going to be secluded. You're going to have the least amount of viewers in your podcasts, or your friends list is going to start getting smaller and smaller. And the more you speak this word, stuff that's true, because truth actually convicts people, right? When you speak truth around someone and they're fostering lies and demons, it irritates them. So that's why we went from church to truth here. And we've been lucky enough to have people that have showed up that were just open to it. They followed the path to us through truth, not through church. Interestingly enough.
Yeah, so I always think about the 501c3s. So you have all these supposed Christian churches where there's thousands of different denominations that all claim to be Christian, but they all have this one thing in common, that they're 501c3s. And so all of those churches are going to have somebody that went to seminary, you're going to have a Freemason or Jesuit leader, be it somebody that they call her father or priest or reverend or whatever they're going to call these people. The 501c3s are led by COINTEL operatives. Freemasons, Jesuits, Rosicrucians, all those people.
To divide.
Mm-hmm.
To make sure that people aren't learning the truth. That's what they do. This one's really important. It says, if any of you lacks wisdom, you should ask Yahawashai, who gives generously to all without finding fault, and it will be given unto you. That's who you got to ask. Don't be asking me. Don't ask Jason. Ask Yahawashai. He's going to give you everything that you need. This one here says, ask and it will be given to you. Seek and you will find. Knock and yes, the door will be open to you. Yes, we started off with Matthew 7. Just a few more here and we'll get out of here for the night. This one says, create in me a clean heart, please, oh Heavenly Father, Yahawashai, I beg you in front of everybody in the realm. Create in me a clean heart. I want to be clean. I do. I beg to be clean. I want to be known as someone who had a clean heart. I don't know if I'm going to have a mansion or 10 cars and a race car and, a cottage and an island home, a resort, timeshare and the Bahamas. But I know the one thing that you're going to remember, Ronnie, is that I had a clean heart. And I want you guys on the other side of the screen to also have a clean heart, to be vulnerable and to ask the Father to give you this. This is very important. It's got to be the most important thing, because once you have a clean heart, you're instantaneously a truth speaker because you have a clean heart. They go hand in hand, heart and heart. Right, Jay?
Yeah, absolutely.
Right. So just a couple more here. The fruit of the Spirit is this. It's love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, and self-control. If you don't have these things in your life, these 9 things, you are not living in truth and in love. Right? These are things that you want to foster. Now, we fight spiritual wickedness. right? In heavenly places. And sometimes you're not, oh, that's not really loving, or, you're not being very joyful. Well, unfortunately, battle has to be done right now. But still, with your loved ones and your family and your friends, you should be showing all these things. Okay, very important. And last but not least, I talk a lot about the heavenly administration. You'll hear me in passing say out loud, all the heavenly administration, I need help. Help me. How am I going to fight this wicked earth without you? Here's who I'm talking about, right? Here's the angelic hierarchy. Now, I don't know how to pronunciate all these names. We can do much more deeper dives. And this is going to probably coincide at some point with the Mazzaroth, right? But we have the seraphim, right? The spirits of love, the cherubim, spirits of harmony. Now, the cherubim are also likened unto the beings that were atop the Ark of the Covenant, right? And the two, again, you have two characters guarding the passage into Eden, right? That's the northern lights that you see in the sky, right? It's the fire of flame of swords that they carry. The spirits of harmony. We've got thrones. We got the spirits of will. How do you say this one? Cryotitus? Titus? What's this word?
Cryotetes.
Cryoreotites? Well, they're saying this is the spirit of wisdom. Mm-hmm.
Dynamis, I would guess.
Yeah, some sort of spirit of motion. So Elohim, the spirits of form. Archai, spirits of time. Archangels, we've got here, they're listed number 8. Interesting. Spirits of fire, right? Angels, spirits of life, and human spirits of love and freedom. So this might not be like, word for word perfectly correct with all the Paleo Hebrew, which I wish we had. We should study it deeper. But I just wanted people to understand that there's different heavenly levels, like an army would have. You have like a general, and then his team below him, and so on and so forth. We have the same system of beings that are over top of creation. So this is the group that I constantly call out to, right? Just so people know, because I wonder if people think like Jason, like maybe they think, well, what's this guy saying? The administration, who's he talking to? These are the beings, right? Specifically the seraphim, the cherubim, and always Michael, obviously, the archangel, right? And if you really need help, you might want to ask Yahawashai to send his messengers, right? And you should definitely, if you ask for help, to do it on your face, on the ground. And if you ask for help, make sure you sincerely mean it, and you will get it. So it goes on to state here as the end here, let your light shine before others, that they may see your good deeds and glorify your Father in heaven. So don't do the good deeds so that you can be seen, but do the good deeds in public so that they can be seen, right? Not so they're seen, but just make sure you're out there doing good. Encourage people, lift up your youth, right? Be a good example, lead by example. All of you people out there that's fighting for truth, always remember that what people see is what they mirror. So be a good mirror, shine your light, right? Beautifully as you possibly can. So thank you guys for tuning in. Thanks, Jay. If you want to do a recap, you can take the screen share back when you're ready.
Yeah, I don't know that here we go. Recap wise, I'm just getting you the screen share. Recap wise, what we had in the beginning was a change to the Hebrew calendar. So that change involved adding a 13th month, and the reason why we did that is because we weren't going to end up having Passover in the first month. It wasn't going to be in the Lamb. It wasn't going to be in Aries. It wasn't going to be in Nisan or Abib. So all 4 of those names refer to that first month. And we weren't going to be in it if we stuck with a 12-month year this year. So we're going 13th month. That's going to put us in opposition to the rest of the world. And we'll watch and see if anybody else follows and makes the correction. But we're going to be waiting for everything to happen a month after the world is celebrating everything. And we showed everybody the reason why. So that was the first section that I covered. And then you want to recap the sections that you covered, brother?
Yeah, well, we talked about what is truth and how do we find it. And then we just basically touched upon those same topics in the memes. And I'm just trying to hold people accountable. Are you speaking truth? What are you doing? Are you encouraging others? And to ask for a righteous heart. I'm asking everybody else, if the best advice I could possibly give you is to just ask for a clean heart, ask to be a loving, righteous person, and truth will be given to you. It's just like added on to it, right?
Absolutely. Well, it's been a great night. We almost made it 2 hours, and we were able to get in an extra hangout this week. Now, next week is going to be a little bit different. We actually have a wedding to go to for somebody that we know, and it may change up our schedule a little bit. So be on the alert for links to upcoming streams. This next week is going to be a little bit different, and we don't quite have it worked out yet. So I'm sure you can expect a rise and grind this coming Friday, but we'll have to see whether or not we have a Friday hangout or not. Sunday, I have a feeling we'll be back. Anything else you want to announce, brother? Talk about?
That was great, no?
All right. Well, that's fantastic. Thank you, everybody, for joining, brother. Where's the only place people are going to hear this information?
Only on the Awake Souls YouTube channel.